This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me on this journey. We'd like to acknowledge and thank our executive producers, Brandy and Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Yanis, Rikky Morrisette, Lorenzo, LightBlindedFool, and the Amyrlin seat. In this episode, we're talking about chapters 39 and 40 of A Crown of Swords.
Yeah, so chapter 39 is Promises to Keep. Yep. And chapter 40 is Spears.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so much stuff happens. Oh my god, this is the end of the book pretty much.
Wow.
Like, we are here. This is the last perspective pretty much for probably most of these characters. Because after this, we only got one chapter.
I can't believe it.
So, like, what can even happen in one chapter?
What are we even doing?
Basically nothing. So, like, come on.
How many pages is the last chapter?
It's like 35-ish, something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a decent amount, but...
You know how many perspectives we can fit in?
That's true. We could have, like, an 18 different flippity-flop.
We certainly can.
Yeah. So, hypothetically, last perspectives for some, at least, of these people.
Oh, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say for sure.
Like the majority, so...
All of the ones from these...
Yeah, this
probably.
this is it for Crown of Swords for them.
Maybe.
Okay.
Actually, now, maybe not Matt. I feel like this is a really nice ending. Like, it's a really cool ending, and I like that.
Yeah.
And then typically the things I like don't happen.
I was going to say, it's like one of those little cliffhangers that, like, immediately gets resolved. Like, you know? Mm-hmm. So.
No, maybe, though. I could see this being the end of Matt for this book.
I mean, there's one chapter. Chapter.
There's a lot that can happen in one chapter.
Okay. Let's get into it because, you know, there's lots of stuff. There's lots of people and things and places to talk about for this one. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to start us off, and because this is our second last episode, and then we're done at Crown of Swords, you should know it's stats. It's all about those good, hard, cold statistics. So this one is all about perspectives and breaking that down.
Okay.
For this book.
Okay.
So just as a summary, just to remind you, so A Crown of Swords had 41 chapters.
Okay.
And a prologue.
Okay.
Which is the lowest amount of chapters we've read so far.
So far, I know.
By, like, over, like, around a dozen on average.
Uh-huh.
So, like, a lot less.
Yeah, we usually get to almost, like, 50 at least.
Yeah. And just as a reminder, for Lord of Chaos, it had a lot of perspectives. It had the most perspectives. It had 139 different perspectives in Lord of Chaos. Big book. But I want you to take a guess how many individual perspectives we got this book.
You know... This always happens.
Sure.
And I know you're going to do this.
Yeah.
And I keep literally no track.
Okay.
So...
41 chapters in a prologue.
Yeah. How many individual perspectives we had? Is that the question?
Exactly. Or if you want to just go like, how many different characters we saw from?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Go with that one then.
That's
what
fine. I mean.
Yeah. That's a unique perspective.
Do you have those numbers?
I do.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm asking you. It's a guessing game. We do this sometimes on this.
Yeah, we do this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Do you want me to tell you how many Lord of Chaos had?
Oh, sure.
Because there was 139 total point of views in Lord of Chaos, but we only saw 47 unique perspectives.
What do you mean only? 47? Okay, that's higher.
Yeah, no, again, it was the most. It was a lot of people, but...
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And this book is less?
There's fewer chapters.
So, probably.
Possibly, yeah. It could be.
Oh, okay, let's go with 32.
That's really good. That's a good guess.
Is it?
31 unique perspectives. Yeah. Yeah, that was really good. That was really good.
Gonna say that.
And it had a total of 67 individual perspectives.
Was it 47 perspectives last time that I got right? It was something about 47.
One of them you got. It was annoying. Yeah,
and I was
for
like,
sure.
that's my go-to funny number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was annoyed last time. So now let's go and do a quick breakdown on who we saw the most perspectives from this book.
Was it Rand?
Okay. Is Rand your number one pick?
Yeah.
For the most perspectives from Rand, this book?
Yes, Rand.
Okay, unfortunately, you're wrong.
Ooh.
He's in 4th place.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta readjust now.
Okay. I gotta pivot.
Yeah, just a little bit. I'll tell you the number afterwards.
Is it Matt?
It is Matt.
Okay.
Matt comes in number 1 with 9 perspectives. And it's kind of funny because this book, Matt, number 1, 9 perspectives. Last book, Rand came in first with 28 perspectives.
Yeah, okay. Because I was going to say, I bet, though, the perspectives we did have from Matt were overall shorter than the perspectives we got from Rand, potentially.
Okay, so yeah. So we had 51,000 words coming in for Matt. He had the most number of words, most perspectives.
Oh, okay.
So after Matt, who do you think is number 2?
Elaine.
Oh, she's like last on the list. She's like...
Oh.
She's 7th.
Nynaeve?
No, she's after Rand.
I was like, what else happened in this book?
Oh my goodness. You gotta pivot here. Pivot harder. A Crown of Swords. We just read this book. What other characters are there?
Min?
No.
No way, not that.
She's worse than Nynaeve. I'll give you a hint.
Yeah.
He's your least favorite character.
Perrin?
Perrin had 7 perspectives, coming in at 40,000 words this book.
What?
Yep.
Where did we hear from Perrin? Was this? No. Maybe. No. This isn't where we... Like, it was last book that we met her family and stuff.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen this... Oh, I guess, all the Perrin stuff with the arguing about Rand, and it was, like, right at the top of the book where he's coming in, and he was all anxious about getting to meet Vael. Okay, I forgot that happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plug that away, repress that a little bit. So we've got Matt at 9, Perrin at 7.
Yeah.
And then who's in 3rd place? Who takes that spot here?
We already know. I'm not good at this.
She's the new Amyrlin.
Egwene.
Comes in number 3 with 5 perspectives at 42,000 words. More words than Perrin got.
I guess, because the cool stuff that happened with Egwene was, finding out about...
Yeah.
Lan and...
Yeah.
Having everyone swear to her.
The issue with this book is there's like hundreds of thousands of fewer words this book than last book. So everything kind of got sped up a little bit here. So Rand comes in number 4 with 5 perspectives, tying Egwene, but has fewer words. And then we've got Nynaeve at 4, then Min with 3, Elaine with 3, and Savannah with 3. And then the rest all kind of,
How did Elaine and Nynaeve... I guess everything we saw really from them was from Matt's point of view, mostly.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time...
we were with them a lot, but...
In Ebu Dar, it was Matt, it was with, we had a lot of our Dark Friend characters and stuff, too.
We did get an Avienda perspective, too, which was also around Nynaeve and Elaine.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Okay, that's a tough one.
Interesting.
Okay.
I'm always quite surprised.
Sometimes you nail it, but, I gotta say, this time, not so much. Not so much, okay.
Okay, so last time we were here, we have so many things happening.
Yes. Oh my.
So, just so that you remember,
okay.
Rand was attacked while taking care of the noble rebels.
Of course.
And isn't in great shape.
Right. Near death.
Right. We also got Nynaeve, Elaine, and Matt, and that whole crew, going in search of the Cloud Bowl in the Rahad.
Yep.
And they were attacked by Black Aja and a super strange new shadow spawn creature.
Yeah.
We get confirmation.
We do.
Of it in this nice chapter.
We do. And we had a good guess last chapter, so we can confirm
So there were some casualties, but we also allegedly actually found the Cloud Bowl.
True.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
So
we haven't seen no balls with no clouds in it yet.
I have not seen that.
Nothing being unveiled here.
Not yet. Just rotten cloth around the thing with concussed Elaine.
How long can she carry this forward?
We'll see. It sounds like they have it.
Yeah,
it sounds like everyone's pretty confident about this.
You're the only person who's worried, and that could also be worrisome if you're the only one who's worried, right? Everybody's getting fooled.
Maybe. Yeah, because this has been almost 2 books in the making. Come on already.
Yeah.
And if this is going to be the end from their perspectives, we're not even going to use it.
So just in defense, we're basically at the end of Crown of Swords here, and in defense of the book, the entire book only spans a week in Randland time.
That's true.
It's 10 days.
I'm aware of that, but how long it takes me to read
I know. So here's the thing.
It drags on.
Book 6 and 7 is basically one book because it's just a week of the events.
It's not, though. That's actually not how book series work.
It could be.
But that's not how
if you buy the complete Wheel of Time collection, it's all one giant book. So it's all...
That's actually not how books work.
I'm pretty sure it could be. Okay.
So jump into chapter 39, Promises to Keep. And the chapter symbol is 5 dice because we're in a Matt perspective.
Yeah, we're doing this.
Our top boy. Our top guy.
You're coming into this really jolly. So I feel like you're not at all concerned about Matt.
Oh, no. I'm not concerned about Matt.
You have you're not worried about
I mean, I know he gets himself into this dire situation.
Okay, let's come back to it.
I'm not
let's come back to
no,
it.
Matt's dead. No.
Come on. Not even a hint of
no.
oh, jeez.
No, you know
whatever.
me. Never. All right. So Matt is back at the Taresian Palace. I actually don't even know how to say that. Terracin.
We've been here for 2 books.
I always just say the palace because I don't know how to say this.
Terracin.
The Terracin Palace. Everyone's here. They're arguing about getting out of Abu Dar. Matt wants to go.
Yeah.
But they have been back here for like 3 hours. Everyone's gathered in a large room. Tylan is here with Elaine and Nynaeve on either side of her, and Matt thinks that one or both of them have clearly spoken to Tylan because she keeps on, like, winking at him and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a weird situation.
Yep.
So, I mean, we left last chapter with Matt saying, let's get out of here, and everyone's, like, super agreeing.
Well, I think that when he said, let's get out of here, they meant the abandoned building where the Dark Friends showed up.
He's talking about, let's get out of Abu Dar, and they were not talking about that.
Clearly not.
Yeah.
Now, we also have a bunch of the Aes Sedai in this room.
Yeah, basically everyone's here.
And we have the Sea Folk here as well.
Yeah, there's nearly 20 of them, so there's a lot.
Yeah. Now, Merleli speaks up. And she says, this is preposterous. I've never heard of any shadow spawn called a golem.
Yeah. You know, this whole thing, this whole monologue really annoys me.
Yeah. And none of the other Aes Sedai have either.
Yeah, therefore
and Elaine and Nynaeve are just like sitting here quiet.
Yeah.
And Matt doesn't understand why they're not saying anything.
Yeah.
And, you know, I also don't really get it. I know there's some kind of weird plan where they need Matt to say it, but I don't get why.
Yeah, so basically Elaine and Nynaeve are making Matt get the Windfinders to agree to leave because their bargain didn't seem to go as well as they were hoping.
Right.
So it doesn't seem like the Windfinders, the Seafolk, were going to leave, and they need Matt's Ta'veren-ness to force the Seafolk to do that. Mm-hmm. So their plan is, don't say anything, and then Matt will get super frustrated and then, like, do it.
Yeah, not great. I mean, like, it works.
It works. So, yeah.
I know. Also, it really seems like the Sea Folk are particularly susceptible to Ta'veren nature.
It seems so.
Like, why? Like, 2 instances in a row.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they're, like, saying all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to be, like, the bargainers. They're supposed to be, like, the best bargainers. Mm-hmm. That's, like, they use bargain with a capital B. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
So maybe if you, like, go in too hard, being too good at something, you know, you get countered by Ta'veren. I don't know. I'm just making it up now.
It's like a Ta'veren thing, though.
I don't know, it works.
Specifically with the Sea Folk.
It worked twice.
We've never seen... Even the Aes Sedai aren't this flustered and just saying everything they're thinking.
Yeah.
Just because they're in the presence of a Ta'veren.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah, prophecies suck. I guess that's, you
certainly
know, they're destined to do whatever.
It certainly helps our character situation.
Yeah, it's because we don't have that much time left in the book. So.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so Matt tries to argue that even Nynaeve and Elaine saw the thing, and so did the wise women. They all know how dangerous it is. And then the Windfinder, to the mistress of the ship, speaks up and says they don't like leaving the ships without a good reason. Plus, we also get some interesting backstory that Matt has a lot of old memories about the Sea Folk.
Yeah, so like he actually knows all the stuff and hierarchy
quite a bit.
Tattoos.
And he knows what each ring in the ear means and all this stuff. So like it's actually kind of interesting.
So.
Yeah.
It was. We don't need to really do that.
No, we do not. No. Yeah. Now, the Aes Sedai don't really seem to believe what Matt's saying, and then we get a lesson in Golem here, according to what Brigida told Matt earlier.
Yeah. So we got the Golem were created in the middle of the War of the Power during the Age of Legends, and they were made specifically to assassinate Aes Sedai, no other reason. So that makes a lot of sense because the power can't touch the Golem, but they can sense the ability to channel if they're within about 50 paces of you. So it's like basically an Aes Sedai killing machine. So that's bad for our crew. Mm-hmm. So they can feel the power in a person, and you won't know it's a golem until it's too late because they look ordinary. They're just like everybody else on the outside, but on the inside they don't have bones. So we saw that. They can squeeze themselves under a door, as we saw with Herod Fell. They're super strong because they can rip doors off, you know, steel doors, whatever. But this is the cool part. So there were only 6 golem made.
Ever.
You asked last time about when they were made. Why don't we use these all the time? But we didn't actually know this information
that was a
yet.
dumb thing for me to say.
No, that was good. It's like, hey, if you have more of these guys, but now we learn that there are only 6, but we only know of 1 because it was kept in a stasis box.
Yes.
3 males, 3 females, appearance-wise at least, and one's here in Abu Dar, probably kept alive since the breaking in a stasis box. Brigida knows all this stuff. That's why we're getting this information.
And she thinks that it's probably a Forsaken who sent it.
That would make sense.
Probably to steal the bowl and to kill not even Elaine.
Also makes sense. Mm-hmm. And basically every other channeler here, because they can't do anything against it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also, they have one of the Black Aja sisters, and we get confirmation here that Thalion is still loose.
She didn't die.
She did not die. She escaped. Okay. So we have Ispan, but we do not have Thalion. A black sister
to worry about.
Right.
Now, also, whoever sent the golem has to know now that the bowl is here in the palace, and if it comes back, then a lot of people are going to die.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is Matt's plan. He's like, listen, we have to leave, and now we have to go somewhere that nobody knows we're going, so it has to be sneaky.
Yeah, with the gateways that you guys can make right here, right now. We could all just leave.
Let's do it.
We could be gone.
Mm-hmm. So Matt's speech seems to do literally nothing because the Seafolk Windfinder says, you're just repeating yourself. Merlelli says she doesn't know any of that, says that you're just making it all up.
Yeah, so terrible. And this is the issue, is that they need Matt to convince the Seafolk to go.
Mm-hmm. We also learned that Ispan is being held in another section of the palace by some of the wise women.
Probably a bad idea. I mean, if there's a golem on the loose...
Unless it's the one who can hold the shield.
I mean, yeah. I'm not saying they can't hypothetically hold the shield, but wise women are notoriously bad at, not being totally subservient to Aes Sedai. So maybe Black Aja's sister can, talk herself out of this. But also Golem. Golem is here.
Yeah, I don't think the Golem's here.
Okay.
I think Matt really wants to get out of here, and he's hyping that part up a little bit.
Yeah. I was just, also...
I think that if the Golem was going to be here, he'd be here.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We've seen Black Aja's sisters in captivity before.
Yes.
And it didn't go well for them.
For the Black Sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's number one rule of Black Aja is don't get captured, because apparently you get murdered or left behind. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Now, this part's kind of funny because they start to ask Matt, well, how do you even know all of this stuff anyway?
Yeah.
And he's like, I read it in a book once. And they just, cut him off because they're not buying any of that.
Yeah. That's a nice little callback, too.
They're like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
To Rand.
And then Matt repeating it.
Yes. Now, Matt realizes that he's the only man present in this meeting. Lan left at Nynaeve's orders, and Tom and Julian are probably off packing. And then he goes through a bunch of thoughts of, not understanding why this is playing out the way it is. He knows that, Nynaeve and Elaine are using him somehow. He just, doesn't know how.
Yeah, and then he kind of, starts looking around at everybody, and he starts, noticing people looking at each other.
Yeah.
Making, little looks.
Yeah.
So he's picking up on something.
Yes.
He just doesn't know what.
Right. And this makes him angry.
Yeah. He's like, I'll show you.
Yeah, so, this is what they wanted.
Yeah.
So he does a slow walk around the room, and he starts by saying, you can all channel, but that doesn't mean much to me. Ask Adelius or Vandine how much I care if a woman can channel.
Yeah.
And then the Seafolk Windfinder says to Nynaeve, there wasn't any mention in your bargain of us having to listen to this idiot.
Yeah.
And then Matt cuts her off because he's so mad.
Yeah, got to use that Seafolk knowledge here, too.
Yes. Seafolk insults.
Yes, the best kind of knowledge.
Yes. I don't bloody care about your bargain, you daughter of the sands.
Oh, man, this actually is a huge shocker, too. So we get the little backstory. So over 1,000 years ago, a Seafolk woman had called an Essenian soldier a son of the sands just before trying to stab him, and now it's evolved into being basically the worst insult you could make to a Seafolk.
Oh, yeah, well, I could imagine.
Yeah.
Because the sands are the opposite of the seas.
Right, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it means that you don't belong on the sea, probably.
Right.
If you're ruling people on the sand.
Yeah.
Or something, or you're of the people of the sand. That's the opposite of what they are.
Yeah. Well, we also know that Seafolk, are, born and buried at sea, so maybe it's I'm going to leave your body in the
I don't think that.
No?
I think daughter of the sands is you're not even a real
Not
sea
even
folk.
a real Seafolk. You're born in the sand. You're a sand person.
You're a land person, not a sea person.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't think we needed to break that down.
No, I think we did. I think it was important to this chapter. So I
think we got it.
Really understand why this woman leaps at him and tries to stab him.
Immediately.
Because that happens.
Immediately, but Matt's got fast hands.
He does.
Fast hands. So he snatches the dagger from her, shoves her back in her chair, and then, like, shoves the dagger into the back of her chair or something? Or does he keep it?
I don't know.
I think he actually keeps it because then he's like, I'm the blade master.
Yeah.
And my blades are bared. And
he does that too.
Yeah. And he says,
I'm the captain now.
And she's like, yeah, okay.
There's so many opportunities for this.
I know.
We've been trying to work that in.
So many.
Yeah.
So many
Matt's
memes.
the captain.
Yeah. So they agree that Matt's in charge now, and Renale, which is the
Windfinder woman, yeah.
Says, I think I've just made a bargain with a Tiviran.
Yeah, so she's Nesta's Windfinder.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super high up. The highest up a Windfinder would go.
Because Nesta's the mistress of the
She's
ships.
the queen, and this is the Windfinder to the queen.
Okay. So then she does some sea folk threatening about one day she's going to make him walk a rope. And then Matt says, it's time for us to leave. Where are we going?
Yeah.
So then all the women make a show of discussing where they should make a gateway to, you know, Arafel or the Waste or whatever. Yeah. And then finally, as if by, such happenstance, I had no idea.
Oh, I know of this place all of a sudden that I just thought of now.
Just right now. This wasn't planned at all.
Yeah.
The kin have a farm a few miles north. No one connects it to us. Plus, the sea folk won't have to be far from the sea.
Yeah, and there's buildings if we have to stay for a long time. It's like, oh, what a coincidence. Mm-hmm. So this was the plan, to somehow get Matt to make the sea folk agree to go and leave.
Yes. And then they had this plan.
Yeah, do what they want.
And Nynaeve and Elaine immediately agree, and they're like, yep, that's where we should go. Let's go.
Yeah.
So now it's finally done. Okay. The Seafolk women are led out to go prepare, and Nynaeve and Elaine come over, and Elaine kind of apologizes to Matt for having used him.
Like, sort of, yeah.
But is like, we had our reasons.
And Nynaeve's like, I'm never going to tell you any reason ever.
No, you don't need to know.
Yeah.
And basically it was just to get the Seafolk to agree.
Yeah.
So Matt starts to leave, but unfortunately...
Yep.
Tylin catches up to him.
Yep.
And now Elaine, Nynaeve, Avienda, and Brigida are still here and, like, watching with a combination of just, like, terrible reactions to this.
Yep. It seems like we backtracked from where we may have made progress because, like, half of them are laughing and whatever. It's really bad. It's like we're taking a, like, couple steps back here.
I know. And then Matt's like, well, I'm leaving. See you never. And then... it happens again.
Yeah, it does.
Very subtle.
Yeah, the women leave. It's very subtle in the writing, but it seems like the women end up leaving. Matt and Tylin stay here for a while.
And then eventually
Matt leaves. So
tucking his shirt into his pants as he goes on trembling legs.
Yeah.
Hoping to never be back here.
And you know what? Last episode, you made a pretty good suggestion. What was it? Just kill her. Someone should kill her?
Someone definitely needs to kill her.
I don't know if it's going to be Avienda, though.
No.
Because she didn't seem very,
No.
angry about any of this.
No. Yeah. If Tylin had, like, threatened Matt in any way, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways, let's move on. There's more important things here, more exciting.
Well, especially, if we actually do get to leave, like, that would be great.
It seems like we are leaving.
Yeah. So now Matt finds Tom and Julian coming out of Tylin's apartments with Matt's manservant and Nalisian's manservant.
Yeah.
And so they're carrying all of Matt's belongings, and Tom tosses Matt that ring, the signet ring that we talked about before.
Tom thinks it's a gift from Tylin.
And that annoys Matt.
Yeah, because he's like, I bought this myself.
Yeah.
You jerk.
Uh-huh.
So.
And then he says, let's go get Oliver, and we're out of here.
Yes. There is a really sweet part with Lopin. Mm-hmm. I do like this part because Lopin, Nalisian's manservant, he wants to stay behind for the funeral because he's like, I like Nalisian. He was a good, master or whatever. So.
And then Matt just sort of says,
can't.
If you're left behind, it might be for a long time.
Yeah, basically forever, because we're leaving now, and, like, what are you going to do, travel the countryside by yourself?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Naram is going to go back to Telmanis, and then so Matt will take him on as a manservant for himself.
Yeah, so it's, like, very sweet. I do like that little relationship.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
So now they get back to Matt's old rooms, and Rizal is there, but Oliver isn't. But it's not a big deal because he'll be back by sunset.
It's fine.
Which
is like, kind of fair to Rizal. You don't, she's not, she doesn't need to keep him all the time. She didn't know that they were going to be leaving right now.
Right.
So, fair.
And so Matt tells everybody, listen, we have to go. We're going to look for Oliver.
Yeah.
We're going to have this system. where everybody checks different places and then comes back and waits.
Yes.
The whole thing.
That is basically what happens.
Yeah.
First he gets the red arms, then he has to go tell the women, like, hey, Oliver's gone, and then he has, like, Avienda flipping out, being like, you're terrible, we can't leave a child, and he's like, I never said I was going to leave the child,
yeah,
I'm just
it's just
letting you guys know.
Go ahead, and we'll meet you there.
Well, he has to do the whole thing, because he's like, I'm going to look for him, but yeah, don't wait, but
yes,
that happens again eventually, too, so.
Yeah. So Matt thinks about the odds of finding one small child in the city, even if a dozen people are looking for him. Oliver doesn't know what's going on and doesn't exactly like giving up his freedom. So, like, this is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, because he's going to try and stay hidden if he sees people looking for him because he's like, just thinks it's a regular day.
Yes. And then this is where we get a bunch of kind of weird goodbyes.
Yeah, it's a lot of back and forth being like, hey, the Golem's here, Moghedien might be, the Black Aja's out here, and then Matt says to Lan and Brigida because they're the ones who like are the warriors, but then Avienda kind of responds because she's also a warrior.
Yeah,
she could also
because
hypothetically
Matt says
fight.
to them, keep them safe until I can reach you, and then Avienda says, we will.
Yes.
And Matt's like, I was talking about you too.
Yeah, and like he should know that she can fight with a knife, like she'd be good. So, but they're all three are the warriors to fight off this
and so Matt
Golem.
and Brigida also have a little bit of a formal old-timey goodbye. And Nynaeve warns Matt to remember about the storm that's going to break soon.
Like by the end of this chapter, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's not a real storm.
No. And so Matt takes off and wonders about what Nynaeve is worried about because rain is good if they use the bowl. And right now it's all blue sky.
Exactly.
So whatever.
There we go.
So this is where they make the plan about how to get Oliver back, and then off everybody goes.
Circle back every hour, so we're not out here all day if we do find him. So it's a good plan. It's a good search plan.
So everybody sets off. Matt heads towards the river and makes his way through the crowds, but it's very crowded.
It's crowded. There's lots of people.
Yep.
It's hard to find a child.
So Matt takes off, going at a reasonable pace, so he won't just, like, pass by Oliver. He wishes that he brought a horse, because it'd be easier to get through people.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing. It goes on and on and
it's
on
a
and
build.
on.
It's a build up. It's a build up because we got to get in the.
It's one of those times, I think, where we sort of start getting lulled into repetitive boringness.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, something's happening.
Well, and that's the thing. It's supposed to be like this boring search scene in the middle of a city with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And then everyone kind of slowly starts
to like... But there's all these rumors.
Yeah.
Of, like, a riot and a battle and all this stuff. And Matt thinks it's about what they went through this morning.
Yeah, which, like, it could be possible.
It might be part of it.
I do like he also, like, at one point sees the wandering woman and thinks, when we were there, Oliver just stared and ogled Satel and Anne's daughters.
Yes.
Instead of, like, going out in the city.
Yeah.
So this is all really, like, Nynaeve and Elaine's fault anyway.
It's all part of it.
Yeah.
All right, so all the rumors say all the things, and eventually Matt starts hearing thunder, and he's like, oh, Nynaeve is right. It is going to rain or something.
But the skies are still blue, and it's like, where's that sound coming from?
Great hollow booms rolling in from the sea.
Yeah, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Did you know what was happening at this point?
Not really.
Or did it take just a little bit? Because that's exactly the same, like, hollow booms what Morgause was hearing in Amadicia.
Okay. Yeah, not really.
So, yeah, it's just because it's, like, clearly the Shanshan attack plan.
I think I just, like, wasn't paying close enough attention. I got lulled.
That's fair. That happens. But that's, like, the Shanshan attack strategy is, like, hollow booms would probably be the Damani doing, like, distance attacks or knocking down gates.
Basically, as soon as Matt gets to the docks and there's a bunch of weird stuff all happening out at sea, that's when I was like, oh, it's the Shanshan.
And it's like the winds are picking up, and then he looks, and there's boats, like a boat on fire, and then there's like lots of boats on fire.
And like people are trying to get out.
People are like, what's going on? Is it just like a ship on fire? But then it's like, oh no, there's like hundreds of ships and a bunch of sunken ships now.
Yeah.
So it's just like this really good escalation over quite a few pages, but I do like the slow build for this.
Yeah, so Matt gets a better look, and there's at least 24 ships burning in the bay. And then Matt sees the square, ribbed sails and says, it's the flamin' Shanshan!
Yeah, he knows.
Oh my gosh.
He knows.
Then some random people start arguing. No, it's Aes Sedai. I know channeling when I see it.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
then another
guys.
says, well, the children of the light will get him. You'll see. And they're all arguing.
Whole back and forth. And it's like, guys, we don't have time to argue about this.
We really don't.
We gotta leave.
So Matt starts pushing through the crowd, and he can already see 4 huge creatures circling over the city.
Giant birds, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
With figures on their backs.
Yep.
And below, there's flames starting to fountain from buildings.
So the Shanshan are, like, really pushing in here.
Matt starts just shouting for Oliver, but people are screaming everywhere. And then a column of Shanshan soldiers march by, and they all have these crazy Shanshan monsters with them.
Yeah, and this is the tricky part. So we know Abu Dar is barely functional as a city. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't really have a strong queen. Their probably army isn't that good. Amadicia sent all their, soldiers out, so sure, they got conquered, the West Coast. But, like, Abu Dar has zero chance here.
Yeah, well, Amadicia would have had zero chance even if the White Cloaks were there. I kind of wish the White Cloaks were there.
They might have put up more of a fight.
Well, it would have been like open the ground under their feet, and then all the White Cloaks are gone.
Exactly. You just want to kill everybody, so...
Well, mostly White Cloaks.
Mostly White Cloaks, but that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, if anybody had a chance to maybe fight back, like maybe the White Cloaks could have mounted a defense. Here, it's just like, nah, this is so bad.
I really don't think so. No one. unless the White Tower or the Black Tower. The Black Tower could fight.
Oh, sure.
Because the only other way to combat the Shanshan is to also use channeling as a weapon.
Yes.
And even the Aes Sedai aren't prepared to do that, really.
Not at all.
Not at the same level.
Send Matt in with his Foxhead medallion.
Figure out how to make 8,000 million Foxhead medallions.
Okay.
For everybody who's going to go up against them.
Great idea.
But if the ground opens up under your feet, it doesn't matter if you have a thing around your neck.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess hypothetically, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't really matter either.
No, and even here, it doesn't matter if Matt feels his Foxhead going cold, he gets buried in rubble.
Yeah. so shoot. Right, because you can just collapse walls on people.
You could literally just punch someone in the face.
Okay.
Throw something at their head with the power.
Right.
Yeah.
Lots of options here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So anyways, this is going to go bad.
After the column passes Matt, he thinks he sees this like flash of red, but it's not Oliver, so it's just general chaos around here. Matt is trying to get literally anywhere through the crowd. Damane are all in the streets too, so it's like full invasion.
Yeah, he's also like trying to not look like a soldier.
Yes.
Because he doesn't want to be suspected as one of Tylan's
associated.
He doesn't want to be. I don't want to be in this fight.
No.
Yeah.
So over 100 of Tylan's mounted soldiers come up on one side of the street and see the small force of Shanshan. They start charging towards them, and Matt mutters, "Not like that. The Suldam will ... and then the Damane
blow you up,
blow up the street,
everything."
And so Matt gets knocked down on his back. He pulls himself up just in time to see the front of an inn start collapsing. And then there's like men and horses and parts of men and parts of horses.
Yeah,
just, like,
I gotta
all
say,
over the place.
like RJ writes the general chaos of warfare like so well.
I know.
When you really think about it,
I'm always very confused.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
I have a hard time like visualizing the whole thing.
Yeah, so. But I feel like that's what it would be: is a general chaos, and you don't know what's happening in your little section of the city.
Yeah.
And you just gotta try and deal with what's right around you, but there's bigger orders going on here. So
yeah, and so Matt sees people running every which way and screaming, and he thinks that it seems to be a great idea to start running too. So he darts on the street, keeping close to the walls. He's trying to just kind of stay out of the way of everything that's happening, but then his Foxhead medallion goes cool again. And it's because the Damane are channeling, and then another roar throws him from the ground. There's a ringing in his ears, and above him, the wall starts leaning outwards over him, and Matt shouts, "What happened to my bloody luck?"
Yeah, so at this point, the wall is literally just the one that's closest to him, that he's by, is falling into the street on top of him.
On top of him.
Yep.
And he has just enough time to realize, as the brick and wooden wall crashes down on him, that the dice in his head have just stopped.
Yeah, okay. So that's a cliffhanger.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Which is why, and I didn't really think about it, because when I finished this chapter, I knew I had another one to read, and I didn't really stop to think that we might not hear from Matt as we finish this book.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like this is...
This might be it for that.
Yeah,
but
this
not
is
it
Matt.
for Matt.
Yeah, but Okay,
No.
so you're not actually worried about,
no.
Matt with a wall falling on him.
No.
That seems pretty dire, as a thing.
It seems like not great, but
It's not going to be one of those, Charlie Chaplin, the wall falls and then, the window goes right over top of him, and then he's perfectly okay.
No.
Okay.
Not quite. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think that it's going to be good, but I do think that he does have some luck, and he is Taviran.
Okay.
And he's not dying here.
Okay.
This is kind of like Nynaeve. Nynaeve
Yeah,
isn't
I know.
just, dying at the bottom of a river.
Sure.
And with nobody knows where they are, and that's just it.
Okay.
No. I just can't believe that. And if it is, then I guess it is, but...
Doubt it. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to try and convince you of that one, but...
Yeah.
Our boy could be, injured.
He could be injured.
He could be hurt.
That's a real thing.
Trapped under a wall, rubble.
Yes.
Something.
Yes. Maybe Oliver will find him.
Yeah, I mean, your lack of concern over Matt is concerning.
Is it? No, I already told you why I'm not concerned.
I'm just saying, it's been 2 books since Maureen's gone. Where is she?
In an alternate dimension, trying to figure out how to get out.
Okay, so, I mean, hey.
She'll come back. She'll figure it out. She's Moraine.
Okay.
She'll figure it out.
Okay.
It's been a week and a half.
Right?
No, okay. It's
now you're getting it.
It's been a little longer than that, but not that much time.
Yeah, okay.
We had enough time for Lan to sort of travel cross country. It's
Sure.
been a couple months.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's it. Easy peasy.
So I'm not concerned about that.
All right, let's move on then.
Okay, we'll take a quick break and then come on back. Okay, so we're back with chapter 40, Spears. But before we jump into it, I need to give a last time with Galena and Savannah.
Okay.
Because it has been too long.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I had to remind myself, wait, when, how, why, what?
Yep.
So, the last time we saw Galena was at Dumais Wells.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Not even really. I don't even actually know if we saw her actually in the chaos of Dumais Wells. I don't think so. I think the last time we saw her, she was literally torturing Rand.
Yeah, it was
Perhaps.
somewhere around there.
But we knew she was in the vicinity, and I had speculated her escape, her capture, of other people captured her, or her death. I was hoping she was just dead, but I wasn't confident about that. I thought she escaped.
Yeah, you did. You were pretty confident.
Yes, so that I was wrong.
I'm so happy that you were wrong. I'm so happy that you were so wrong about her escaping.
Yeah.
I do not feel bad for Galena at all.
I don't feel bad for Galena at all. I just don't love who captured her.
I mean...
It would be better if Rand had captured her. But would it be because...
yeah, I know.
I feel like Savannah has no issue with offing Galena if she needs to, and Rand kind of would.
Yeah, he does. He's got the problems.
Yeah.
Where it's
Except
sometimes...
I think that he would still her, and that would be cool.
I agree with that. That'd be okay.
Fit punishment.
I mean...
Perhaps.
But she's so evil.
Yeah, she's really evil.
She's so evil.
Yeah, okay. So, she was gone after Dumais Wells, and that's the last time we saw her. Elida hadn't heard from her at the tower either, so, that was a big thing happening.
For sure.
No one knew where she was.
No.
Now, the last time we saw Savannah, at the beginning of this book, we got her point of view of Dumais Wells.
Yeah.
And that didn't go that well for her in the Shido. They ran away with what people they had left. And then we also saw Savannah with Brandy and Sammy.
Yes.
In disguise, being all tricksy.
Yes.
And Savannah was getting fooled about the power items and stuff.
It's so good.
Like the call box.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah. Well, the call box was less foolsies.
Less, but not really.
It's the traveling boxes that are the real...
Yes, the real trixies.
Oh, it's so good. I love this. It's so funny.
Right, and then I have questions about this oath rod, too.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because, yeah.
There's a second one, ...
Well, I mean,
mark?
maybe.
I mean, that makes sense.
If there actually was a stasis box.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it when we get there.
Okay. You know what we didn't talk about? Who sent the golem?
We'll talk about it when we get there. Let's just wait.
We did talk about it a little
bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's get there.
Let's get into it. So, chapter 40, Spears. The chapter symbol is the Aiel shield in Spears.
Right, because Aiel.
Yes. Now, we get a Galena perspective. She's alive. She's running in her bare feet. She's sweating like crazy. And, for the first little while... we get kind of a recap of her thinking about her accomplishments.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like she's on her own.
Okay.
So I thought she had escaped and she's just basically by herself, has no idea like where she is,
and she's booking it to get away or something.
Booking it to get away, and has been for a week.
It is much worse than that for her.
For her, yeah. Because I was like, oh, where is she? I thought maybe we were getting her like almost approaching the tower or something like that.
Yeah,
if she had been like on her own, maybe hiding out for a couple days, and then decided
maybe had to ditch her stuff and like hustle back to the tower or whatever.
Right.
Like that's a possibility. Right. It could have played out like that.
Yeah, because that's kind of what it seemed. But no.
Yeah.
So we get that she has been an Aes Sedai for about 90 years.
Yeah. So that put her like early hundreds probably.
Yeah. And then for 20 of those, she has been the head of the Red Aja. And then some, like, secret things about the Red Aja and...
Yeah, so the head of the Red Aja is called the highest and is considered by other Reds as equal to the Amyrlin.
Right.
So uppity.
Which is, like, sneaky.
Yeah.
We also get that for all but 5 of those years being an Aes Sedai, she's been Black Aja. So 85 years Black Aja.
Super evil.
Yeah. Considering that most of the Forsaken...
It gets worse.
Weren't even around at all.
Yeah.
So she has been placed on the Supreme Council of the Black.
Yep.
Next to Alviarin.
Right. Yep.
And she's one of only 3 who even knows who Alviarin is.
Yeah, at their hooded meetings.
At their hooded meetings.
Right. Okay.
And so she has ordered a king and a queen to die. She's helped break 2 Amyrlins.
Pause.
Yes.
Because this is important.
Yes.
So,
making
one of those
them seem like they died in her sleep.
And that was Tamara Ospenia.
Okay.
That was the Amyrlin. That was Amyrlin during the Aiel War.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so that's the first one that we've kind of heard roundabout. We've heard actually a fair amount about Tamara at this point.
Yes.
And she supposedly died in her sleep. But turns out, tortured and killed by Galena.
Yeah.
Come on. Terrible.
Oh, yeah. And then the other one was Swan.
Yes, deposed and stilled.
That she was personally part of. She led the circle that stilled Swan, and she liked it.
Yeah, so that's like even more suspect for deposing Swan when clearly it's like a Black Aja scheme.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Well, we already kind of knew that, though, because it didn't escalate quite to that until Alviarin was involved.
Yes.
Because Elida wanted to expose what was happening.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until she involved Alviarin in the plot
like
that,
the head of the Black Aja, like, come on.
Severely escalated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they clearly have some experience with dealing with that kind of thing.
And Galena thinks that she is among the mightiest in the world.
Right? Right? Aren't I? Aren't I the most powerful?
Not right now.
Not right now, you're not.
You underestimated Rand.
Yeah.
So I think that he might be a touch mightier than you.
Interesting.
Now, Galena's legs waver and she falls hard, and the only clothes she has remaining is her shift, and she thinks out loud, how can this happen to me? And then she realizes she hasn't been hauled to her feet, which is weird because that always happens because the people who she's traveling with doesn't want to wait for her any longer than they need to.
Yeah, and this is where it's like fully revealed there's several hundred Aiel women who've taken her prisoner.
Yeah.
And they're in the mountains right now.
That's right.
And thankfully there's no men here.
Oh, to see her in her shift.
Right. Yeah, she's like got an actual like hatred for men. Mm-hmm. Which is a bit of like, is that all the Reds? But, not. We've seen...
No, and I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong in this.
Sure, okay.
But there's a scene when Savannah is meeting with Galena and this crew for the first time.
Yep.
And there's another one of the Reds who's there too.
Katarina.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's Galena who is constantly thinking about how pretty other women are around her.
Yeah.
And so it happens again here.
Yes.
Where she's thinking about the way someone's lips look and how somebody's eyes are so beautiful and whatever. So it's, I think, a little bit further than just like hatred of men. It's also love of women.
Yes. She's lesbian too.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Like canonically too. So.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. I picked it up.
Yes, you did. You're right about it.
Which, I mean, like, you can love women without hating men.
Yeah. No, she's just like both sides of the spectrum of like, she's the worst person because she like is evil.
Yeah.
And she has this like ingrained hatred of men.
Yeah.
Which comes more from the evil side of her.
Yes.
Than it does from the lesbian side of her.
I certainly wish that there
that's
were
not
some
how
like
it works.
good people, lesbians around here.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Well, I guess we have like Maureen and Swan. That's
Yeah, I
kind
mean,
of
there's
a
lots of options for what we can talk about, but yeah, no, it's not for yeah.
thing. Okay. It just, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
No,
a
I
thing.
get it. It's a thing.
Okay. So now Galena tries to see where Thurava.
Yes, Thurava. Yeah,
Thurava.
Yeah,
Thurava.
Thurava.
Is.
We know Thurava.
That's right. Yeah, she's with Savannah.
Savannah,
She's with
yeah.
Savannah.
She was the one. So remember during Dumai's Wells, the wise ones broke into two groups.
Okay.
One half being led by Savannah.
Yeah.
One half being led by Thurava.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's about 70 wise ones here, all looking out at something, and Galena thinks about how the wise ones have been brutal in teaching her their correct names.
Because I can't just call them Aiel women or
wilders.
wilders. Like, no, Galena.
Yes.
Like,
And
come
they
on.
even put the weakest wise one in charge of shielding her, and even though Galena could break the shield, she has this, like, involuntary muscle spasm in her face, thinking about her escape attempts.
Yeah.
Her first was bad, the second was worse, and she knows she won't try again until she can be sure that she can be successful.
Yeah.
So it sounds like she's getting a taste of her own
A little bit.
medicine.
Yeah. Also, for the record, for Thurava, just so you know more about her, she's super strong in the power. We get that. And she was also involved in the murder plot with the Sane, which is the murder plot that's referenced in this scene. Mm-hmm. So she was in on that original with Savannah.
Okay, and now Savannah and Thurava are deciding to pin this on Galena.
Yes, and it kind of works a lot.
100%. It
Yeah.
works. Oh, yes.
For the wrong reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, Thurava comes up to Galena, who's still on the ground, and forces her head up by her hair, and Galena is already traumatized by her treatment, and then Thurava tells the others to water her, which is just what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And Galena thinks back to the previous punishment she got for spilling water.
Yes.
So she's careful not to do that.
Yeah, it's just like we get a couple of pages here of building up to understand where Galena is mentally.
And what's going on.
Yeah, and it's not good. And Thurava, actually, we get here that she's actually stronger than Galena is, and Galena's like very strong. Mm-hmm. So the whole misconception about wise ones not being powerful,
Yeah.
it's like that's
Not
not true.
true.
It's not true. There's just so many more of them too.
Right. So a maiden hauls Galena to her feet, and Galena thinks that they can't be running again. They can't, not in these mounts, because she's being forced to keep up with the Aiel running. And she's in, like, bare feet, and this...
Doesn't have a
and is,
lifetime of running.
And is also, like, bound.
Yeah, also that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what they're doing.
But the maidens sort of hit Galena. They switch her. So she starts running.
Yeah.
And she starts thinking about how she'll be rescued eventually. The tower wouldn't allow a sister to remain in captivity, and Elida would never allow a red to be held.
This is so good for so many reasons. So there's like 3 points to it. The tower wouldn't allow his sister to remain in captivity. They are. We saw that. Elida wouldn't let a red be held. She is, because the third one is that Alviarin would come to the rescue because she's Black Aja. And we just saw the scene with Alviarin telling Elida, like, nope, you gotta abandon them.
Yes.
It's just so funny because Galena's like trying to hold on to this like last strand of hope.
And also, no one knows where you are.
No one knows where you are. No one knows that you were captured properly. Like, no one knows anything,
where
really.
The Shido are. No one knows anything.
Oh, man, it's so funny.
Yeah, and then Galena thinks about how she had broken free of the 3 oaths on joining the Black Aja, replacing them with a new Trinity.
That's a loaded sentence. Number one,
certainly
confirmation.
Is. Confirmation. Officially.
3 oaths are broken.
Officially.
Official. 3 oaths are broken. Don't hold them.
Yeah.
And then there's a new Trinity of oaths that it sounds like they take for the Black Aja.
Yeah.
Name those oaths.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Do unto evil. Do lots of evil.
Do lots of evil.
Do
That's
lots
number one.
Of it.
Number
Obey
2.
the dark one.
Perfect. Obey the dark one.
Yeah.
Love it. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, you probably should do that.
Yeah.
Number 3. Last evil oath.
Always think you're better than everyone and that you deserve all the glory.
Love it.
Power.
Love it. Okay.
Just kidding.
Good stuff.
Just kidding.
You
but
know
I think
what?
it's interesting that even Galena, in this position, is thinking of herself as, like, the mightiest in the world.
Yeah.
And the power will be all hers.
Yeah.
And it's like, Galena.
Like, at some point, you'd be like, oh, man, this really sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can get out of this.
Yeah. Nope.
Something to be said for clinging on to hope real hard.
No, I actually don't know what they would actually be.
I like him.
Probably Obey the Dark One for sure.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like him.
But that last one was a joke.
Yeah, and then do evil stuff. You know, that works
stuff,
too. Okay.
probably. Yeah. Don't talk about Fight Club.
Don't talk about... That would be actually... Don't talk about the Black Aja.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Recruit 2 of your friends.
Always.
And then they can recruit 2 other people.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Dark Friend pyramid scheme. There
Absolutely.
you go. Okay, love it.
So now they finally stop, and Galena hears Savannah's voice saying, "You took your time, Tharava, 9 days."
Yeah, because last time we saw her, that was the plan, was to meet here.
Yeah, and so Galena can't believe it's only been 9 days since she's been captured.
Yep.
She thinks it's been much longer.
Like months.
Yeah. And then they bring Galena up to Savannah, and she sees there's 14 women who can channel, including the one who's shielding her still. And half of them are the ones who captured her so easily.
Yeah, and that's when she thinks I'll never be careless about wise ones again. So again, it's just like more repetition on the, Galena, Aes Sedai, Reds, superiority complex. Don't think Wilders are actually like functionally useful.
Yes.
So, but yeah, you're not going to get another chance to underestimate them.
Well, maybe.
How are you getting out of this?
Samael.
You think Samael's coming to the rescue of a Black Aja?
Well, yeah, and then to punish her.
Maybe.
Because, you don't want somebody who can spill a bunch of your secrets in captivity.
Yeah, maybe you'll nail her tongue to a door.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's maybe it's not rescue.
Well, even Moghedien, who did get, released from capture, is under...
Mind trap now, so...
Mind trap, exactly.
It's really bad.
So, she'll probably be, rescued somehow. She probably won't be under, Because... In my mind, Tharava and Savannah, these are the idiots. These are the morons.
Okay.
Unless she's recruiting them somehow.
to the Dark Friend circle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Do you know what?
I could see it. Savannah wants nothing but glory and power.
That's true. Oh, she does have those tendencies.
She has that tendency.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Of all people to recruit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She just thought she had to marry to get it. But now,
it's
get
join
it
our club. Join the club.
Independent woman.
Love it.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I like this. I like your version.
All right. So Savannah says, "It seems that Aes Sedai can lie. You made promises, Galena, and you broke them. Did you think you could murder a wise one and get away with it?"
Yeah, so this is the confusing
And Galena, for half
part.
a second, thinks that Savannah knows about her being a Black Aja and being able to lie now.
Yeah. But not. That's not what happens.
No, but she tries to put on her Aes Sedai voice and says, "Be thankful some of you are still alive." Because what she's thinking of is Dumai's Wells.
Yes.
Where wise ones died.
That's the miscommunication here, where it's it works, the lie that Savannah tells of pinning Dessain, the wise one who they pulled apart with the power, to get the other wise ones on board with attacking the Aes Sedai.
Well, and later, Savannah's that's weird she didn't deny that.
Yeah. Because Savannah's talking about Dessain, and then Galena's talking about the wise ones that died during Dumai's Wells.
Yep.
So just misunderstanding. There we go.
Yeah.
Easy.
Now, Galena continues and says, "When I return to the tower, I will remember those who helped me even now." And then she tries to do this bribing directly to Savannah.
Fits
and
into
says,
your 3 oaths.
"I trust you'll do what's right. The reward of friendship with the tower is great."
Yes, you'll get lots of gifts and rewards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lots.
And
then there's this silence, and then Savannah's like, "You suck.
Yeah.
You're the worst."
No, it's very specific. So you're Dat-Sang.
Yes.
So we've seen this before too, because
we have. Yep.
It's despised one.
Oh wait, I didn't know that part, but
yeah. So she translates it as a despised one.
Yeah, that's what Isandre was.
Yes,
dressed all in black, right?
Yep, that's the one, because we get to see the black
and we've
robes.
Seen one other. Or some other mention of Dat-Sang earlier in this book, maybe?
Yeah, so we had Rand being treated as Dat-Sang. That's how it was described when he was captured.
Yeah.
And then also Amis and Cerelia called the Aes Sedai. They said they have no honor and called them Dat-Sang. So
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, 2 more wise ones say that Galena is Dat-Sang, and Galena doesn't know what just happened, but then Savannah declares 3 wise ones have spoken.
Yep.
And something important happened here.
Yeah, it's like a proclamation. It's like they have officially decided. Yeah.
And that's the end of
Yeah.
Galena's perspective.
Well, Galena's happy. She's like, okay, this is good because this gets me away from Thorava into Savannah's hands.
Right.
And that's better.
For her.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then they put the black, like, woolen robe on her, and then, yeah, it's gonna probably not go so well for her either way. Doesn't really matter.
No. Now, we get a perspective change to Savannah, who's a moron.
Yeah.
She's a stupid idiot.
Okay. Yeah.
It seems. And is just, doesn't really question much and just goes with everything, even though none of it makes a lot of sense.
She assumes she knows too much about circumstances.
Yes, and does not. And doesn't even, like, really question who this guy is, why he has all this stuff, like, what's happening.
She thinks she knows because she thinks that Grendel is an Aes Sedai and he's just getting all the stuff from her.
I know, but even that, it's like...
Yeah.
Can we get an explanation of, like, how or why? Like,
that's the issue, is, like, Savannah's a person who has always functioned like this, and she is right now in a relatively powerful position. So she assumes that she's doing things properly and doing it right. So she's not going to question that because, like...
She's a dummy.
She's an idiot. She's a knucklehead. So...
All right, so... Perspective change to Savannah. She's watching Galena, as Dad's saying now, do some useless labor as punishment.
Yeah.
And
she thinks that because the useless punishment thing is to, like, bring shame to you.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, she's going to be really shamed. It's like, Galena is not going to be shamed by this.
No, she's no.
That's not what she's going to feel.
She'd be more shamed by running around naked.
Yeah. Like, she's going to be annoyed and, like, tired and exhausted, but, like, she's not going to feel shame from this.
No, and this won't break her. She's like, oh, this will for sure. Yeah. She's already broken.
Yeah, no. Right? Because she just literally 2 minutes ago tried to bribe you.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm going to get out of here. Like, come on.
Yes. So one of the wise ones comes up and mentions that she didn't think that Galena would actually condemn herself the way she did by basically admitting to the killing.
Yeah.
Because these are the wise ones who are not in the loop about the actual murder plot.
Yeah.
And it's just this plot to turn all the Shadow wise ones against Aes Sedai.
Yeah, so basically it gets, like, responsibility off of Savannah now, so that's not going to come back and bite her, because now it's on Galena.
And now this is where Thorava isn't happy that Savannah took Galena away, because apparently the plan was to break her.
Yeah.
And they've already had these discussions about what to do with captured Aes Sedai, because Savannah wants to tame one and have them serve her.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, power hungry, crazy.
You know,
we just got to really build it up.
All of this is annoying because obviously you feel some redemption here. You feel happy that Galena's being tortured.
Yeah.
Because she's the one who was doing the torturing for Rand, and she's a terrible person.
And she's a Black Gaja for like 90 years.
All these things. Like,
terrible.
She's terrible. She's a terrible person, and we're kind of happy that she's being tortured. But at the same time, Savannah isn't a good person.
No.
And so all of this is very morally ambiguous.
Does it make you feel like yeah, that's what RJ does all the time to you.
Yeah.
He's like, here's a situation. How does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Pretty uncomfortable, I bet.
Yeah.
And let's keep going.
I know. All right, so Thorava tries to argue that Galena is already tamed, but the others aren't convinced. They're like, no, Galena literally just threatened us and tried to bribe Savannah.
Yeah.
And internally, Savannah thinks about how she knows Aes Sedai can't lie, and she expected Galena to deny the accusation and thinks, weird. That's weird.
Yeah.
And then just, like, doesn't think about it again.
Like, Savannah's technically correct. Aes Sedai can't lie. Yeah. But, I mean, there's so many layers on that, too, because Galena didn't lie even if she was
there was no
forced
lying.
To tell the truth. Yeah, it's like, and plus she's Black Aja, so, you know, all bets are off here. So. Yeah,
but guess what? Guess who shows up now?
Oh, yeah, let's do this.
It's Kadar.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Maisie?
Yep.
Is that what it is?
Sure.
Mazia?
Sure.
Sammy Grandy.
Sammy Grandy.
Yep.
Dynamic duo.
You love it.
In action together.
This little pair.
Yeah. So now Kadar pops up out of nowhere and says, if you want to make an Aes Sedai obey you, maybe this will help. And he hands her this smooth white rod about a foot long, and Savannah snatches it and asks how he got here, why, and what is this?
Yeah.
And Kadar's like, oh, it's an oath rod. And
this is
important. Came into my hands yesterday.
That's important because, I mean, what we've suspected, and maybe not 100% accurate because it's all limited information we have, but Samuel was a guy who was like, oh, I found a stockpile of crap
Yes.
And then it seems like he never really had it. And then he got the stasis box with the golem.
Yes.
So he sends them, and then he sends possibly all those thugs who broke into the storeroom with
if,
orders to get all the stuff. If it all lines up, yeah.
Nicely, then yes.
So then the thugs who ran out with their armfuls of stuff, dragging the piano behind them, brought it back to Samuel. It's very possible that another oath rod was in there.
Well, because they were just used to bind criminals, right? So it stands to reason that there would be more than one.
There'd probably be a whole bunch of them by any law enforcement agency. So there's probably a couple of them floating around.
Yeah, for sure.
And we get that there's a number on it.
We do?
We do.
Is it?
We don't know. We don't know what the number is.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't get it actually, but we know that there is a number.
Okay. Inscribed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Savannah does seem to know what this is because everybody knows, and she tucks it in her belt. And now I'm just wondering, why though? Why would we actually give her anything at all?
Because Samuel is fucking with the Shido hard.
Yeah.
And he knows, and he sees it, that Savannah is crazy and can't channel, and wants to bind all the wise ones. So, remember last book, this is only a week in time.
Yeah.
The orders from the Dark One is let the Lord of Chaos rule, cause chaos. Cause as much shit as you can in the world.
Okay.
That's the plan. That is literally the plan.
That was the order to Demandred, right?
That was the order to everybody.
Everybody.
Samuel didn't go to that meeting.
Right.
He didn't show up.
No, he didn't go.
But he should know the order, hopefully, because he's paired up with Grendel now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's cause as much strife and grief and shit as you can.
Okay.
And I tell you, giving an oath rod to Savannah, it's not a bad plan.
All right, maybe.
Because why would he want it?
I don't know.
He can compel people. You don't need an oath rod.
No, you don't.
If you're a Forsaken, if you know how to compel people, you don't need one. It's a useless tool to him.
Yeah, and I guess Samuel just does not care at all what
Doesn't
happens.
care. Not at all. No, for sure not.
Okay. So now Kadar tells her how to use the oath rod, tells her that all she has to do is have an Aes Sedai or any woman who can channel hold the rod and speak whatever promise that she wishes while someone channels a little spirit into the number.
And then he's the marking at the end of the rod.
Yeah.
So there's a marking at the end of the rod that's a number.
Okay.
So if there's another oath rod with the tower, that one should have a number too.
What's interesting is that there's a way to release if what he's saying here is true.
Yes.
Because it's you just do it backwards.
Which makes sense. It makes sense if it was a binding tool for criminals. It's you would pass a sentence.
Yeah.
And then once the sentence is up,
you can release
the sentence. That logically makes sense.
Yeah, except apparently it hurts.
Yeah, but it
it hoits.
It hoits real bad. Oh man, okay. Great.
Okay, so then Savannah's hey, but this only works on women.
Yeah, which is also really important.
Yeah, and Kadar's women who can channel. I just said that.
He corrects her because she's not any woman.
Yeah.
Only channelers, idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she'll have to wait for Althor before he can give her what she wants to control him. And
if he has something for that, we don't actually know.
No, but I do have a speculation that collar thing that controls men who can channel didn't actually make it to the ocean.
That Bail Daman?
Yes.
Was supposed to
drop? We haven't seen. That was the end of a book a long time ago.
Yeah.
Shadow Rising? That must have been the end of Shadow Rising, because they were still in Tanchico.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Yep. Okay, if that's the thing he's talking about, because we get another reference to another tool for controlling people, which is very interesting.
Well, that's for people who can't channel also.
Yes, I love this, and we got to talk about that, because
he mentions, if you mean some other man and not Althor, then there's this thing called a binding chair.
Yeah. So here's the thing about the binding chair. So we know the oath rod is for channeling for women, but we don't know if that's actually true.
Okay.
Because why would an oath rod be specific to only women? Who knows?
What do you mean? Why would it be? Because Saidar and Saidin are different? You've been preaching that to me for 3 years?
I'm just saying, it's a Terangriel.
Yeah.
Terangriel don't specifically
Yes, they do.
Not all the time.
Yes, they do.
Not all the time.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Anyways.
Very specifically.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, the binding chair. So there's a chair, and it seems like either the channeler would sit in the chair or the non-channeler would sit in the chair, and then you like channel into it and then like speak, and that would bind them to those words. And it's harder for non-channelers to be bound to like oaths, which is an interesting take, because we've also seen where it's like harder for the Dark One to get into your dreams and stuff and affect you and take you over. Like there's a susceptibility that channelers have to evil and stuff like that, because they can touch the one power.
Okay, I'll believe you.
We've seen that.
Yeah, no, I believe you. Don't need to convince me. I believe you.
Yeah, like the Murdral channelers like converting you.
Yeah.
That's a thing that can't happen to non-channelers.
Okay.
From everything we've heard.
Converting you to what?
Remember the 13, get the 13 fades together and the 13 channelers?
Oh.
And then they turn you to the dark side.
That would have to be if you're a channeler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Okay,
yeah.
got that.
There's like susceptibilities.
Yeah, you're still trying to convince me. I believe you.
I'm not convincing you. We've read it. I'm not just making this up here.
I know you're not making it up.
My God,
That's why I'm convinced.
You know what we should do? We should just start over at book 1.
Yeah.
And just like restart now.
Quite honestly. Yes.
Right? Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So now Savannah thinks a whole lot about how Kadar is a fool, and sooner or later he'll give her everything she wants.
Because he's offering up all these ideas for her.
Because he's so greedy for all her money.
Yeah.
And now she has something that can break Messiah away from him.
Messiah? It's not Messiah.
Messiah.
Grendel.
Messiah. Yeah, Grendel.
Grendel. So here's the thing. You want to hear a conspiracy theory?
Sure.
So she thinks that Kadar is just a dude.
Yeah.
And that Grendel is the Aes Sedai who's doing all the things.
Yes.
So now she has an oath rod that can bind her to Savannah's will. Right?
That's what she thinks. Yeah.
That's what she thinks. So she offers tea. And the tea, she says, and prefaces and says, this is a minty tea.
Okay.
What kind of tea has a minty flavor?
Is it fork root?
It's fork root tea has a minty flavor.
Is it? Does it? I didn't
does.
remember that.
It's very specific. So think back to when Nynaeve and Elaine got captured.
Well, yeah, I remember. I don't remember the mint part specifically.
Minty.
Okay.
Nynaeve's like, it's minty.
I don't remember that.
So it's like,
Okay.
maybe. Okay, so here we go. So Savannah maybe has access to fork root tea and wants to...
But then that doesn't play out at all here.
Because Grendel doesn't drink the tea.
Oh, she doesn't drink it.
Doesn't take the tea.
Okay.
And then she's like, Samael and Grendel, they notice things. So anyway, she offers the tea, and then if it had have worked, and then Grendel is like incapacitated, then she's like, then I can use the Oathrat to take over Grendel, and then Kadar
Which
is
would
just
be
like crazy. Obviously not happening, but it's just like the mint tea is like, whoa, come on.
Very subtle.
Very subtle.
And like,
with no other playing out of anything. No follow-up, no nothing.
Nothing.
But it's like that mint got me on edge here.
Okay,
I'm always looking out for mint tea.
That's a good conspiracy.
Okay.
I didn't even remember that.
You gotta pay attention to the mint tea.
Okay. Yikes.
You would get drugged immediately.
I would never. I'm always on alert.
Who's that? Who are you?
Yeah. What's that? Especially if I get taken into some storeroom.
Right?
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right. So Savannah asks now about the traveling boxes. And Kadar pats his bag and says he brought so many. Narbarha.
Narbarha.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
This is an old time. It's so funny.
Stupid. I was like, obviously this is some stupid word. Like, this isn't even...
But that's what Old Tongue looks like.
I know. Narbarha.
I love this plotline so much.
Okay. Now, it's enough to transport everyone by nightfall if they hurry.
And you should hurry.
Yeah, because Althor has sent 2 clans coming up from the south and 2 more moving to come down from the north.
Yeah.
And he has wise ones ready to channel.
Which is all lies.
Yeah, and Thoreva doesn't sound that impressed.
No.
By the clans headed in their direction.
Yeah, because she's like, we're in the mountains. Like, even if there are 4 clans, like, they're not going to, like, take us over in a day here.
Yeah, and Kadar's like, wrong. Althor also has bound Aes Sedai to him, and they taught the wise ones traveling.
At least over short distances, which, again, it's like all bold-faced lies. Like, it's all lies.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
Great.
Yeah. So they can all be here right now.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
And so Kadar takes out a small gray stone cube with like a red circle on it.
So
from his bag.
Yeah.
And says, "This is the Narhabarbarha." It uses Sidene.
So you can't see anything.
You can't even see it.
It's like, okay, he's covering his butt. Like, I gotta give it to Samuel. Like, he did have all the, contingencies in place here.
But if it uses Sidene, how could anybody use it?
It's just the button you press, because some Terangriel are, and we know this.
Okay.
Some Terangriel are made to use the power, but can be used by non-channelers.
Like the Dream Ring? If you fall asleep touching your skin?
Yes,
then,
there are things that use the power, but you don't actively have to do anything for it. So it's possible.
Okay.
It's possible.
I was like, man, this guy.
It's a bunch of crap that he's got like 30 of these freaking things.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, here you go, press the button.
Yeah, it has limits.
Yeah.
If a woman touches it, it
broken.
won't work for 3 days after.
Yes.
And I'll have to hand them out myself.
I think all the Aiel guys should have to like show their balls just to make sure that they're actually men touching the stone cubes. That's some sort of test.
They all have to do a helicopter. They all have to helicopter around.
Sit on the seat with the hole cut out of it.
Yeah, no. They gotta show everybody.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Good call. Yes,
Man.
for sure.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Once these are used and there's a gateway that's opened, it will remain open only for a fixed time.
Yeah.
Enough for a few thousand to go through, and then it will need 3 days to recover.
It's a 3-day recharge time, so
Yeah, and then Savannah's cautious and thinks there's no way Kadar will betray us because he wants all our money.
Right?
What?
The audacity of Samuel to come up with such a freaking plan. Like, I love him for this.
And then to also call it a
fool box. It's just like, oh man, like Samuel is just playing 4D chess right here for these people. It's great.
I love it.
He's on a different level.
It's funny. It's because I'm like, okay, haha, Galena's getting what's coming to her, but also, ugh, icky, I don't like Savannah.
Yeah.
But then it's also, oh my god, Savannah's getting what's coming to her.
And you know what?
There's
the next
scene... There's got to be, like, different steps. And
that's
it's like,
the problem.
Now I need Samuel to get what's coming to him.
That's the problem, is the next scene humanizes how terrible all of this is. Because it's like, haha, it's really funny. Savannah sucks, Shido suck. But then it's like, oh man, here's just like a guy and his wife and his children.
Yeah.
And he's separated from his children. And it's like, he's a real person.
Okay, no, I don't feel bad for them because they literally defected.
I know.
And did a bunch of terrible things.
I know.
Because they're dishonorable Shido dogs.
Oh man, you sound just like Ruark right now.
They literally pillaged and ravaged just villages for the sake of murdering everyone.
Yeah. You know what?
I don't feel bad for a single
You bring
Shido.
up a good point, but I stand by mine.
No. Maybe they should have thought of that before they just did a bunch of terrible things.
They should have just listened to Ren, not that stupid Couladin.
Different levels.
This is really Asmodean's fault, because Asmodean did the frickin' Couladin thing.
This is Asmodean's fault. Mm-hmm.
Alright.
All of it's bad.
Yeah.
Now, this ends Savannah's perspective. I'm going to go grab a new drink, and then we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Okay, so perspective change to Merrick.
Yeah, and we know Merrick.
We know of Merrick.
We know of Merrick because at the beginning of this book, in Savannah's thought process in the prologue, she was thinking that most people think that Merrick is going to be chosen to go to Ruidian to become a clan chief.
Okay.
But Savannah wants to do away with all the stupid Aiel customs.
That's right.
And she wants to be like, I'm going to choose all the clan chiefs and the Sept chiefs and the Warrior Society heads.
And then it'll be passed down to children.
It's just all up to me. So Merrick is the guy.
Okay. Now, Merrick is frowning down at this stone cube that Kadar gave to him.
Yeah.
And then this hole opens when he presses the red spot. And I just
just Samuel opening it.
Samuel, literally in the bushes.
Yeah.
Waiting for...
Or just, right there, because,
that's
you don't have to, do things.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, now... He has some thoughts on not really liking this plan, especially when the male half of the power is being used. But his wife, Dyrell, tells him they have to move since, it won't stay open long. So Merrick leaps through, and then the rest of his Aiel follow through too, and there's nearly 6,000 people in his sept.
Yeah, not all warriors. So we got like carts and people and...
Yeah, people.
Yeah.
So the scouts spread out over the hills on the side that they're on, and we don't even really get where they are.
No, because
or where Samael wants them to be.
They don't know where they are.
Yeah. I don't know why Savannah was so into this plan.
Yep.
Like, why? Why does moving out of the mountains?
Because she was promised that Samael was gonna bring them to richer lands where they can just, like, pillage.
Oh, that's true.
That
right,
was the
I forgot
plan.
about that.
And
okay.
Savannah only wants to pillage the wetlands.
Okay.
Because they're rich, and she wants riches.
And then maybe Kadar can show back up and then transport them, like, to the waste or something.
No, Savannah wants to stay here.
Oh, right.
She wants to rule and have all the things wetlanders have.
Oh, right.
That's her deal.
Okay.
She's like, I love this thrones thing and the jewelry thing and the...
Yeah, she does like jewelry.
Yeah.
All right, so now Merrick has some thoughts on not being sure what he believes about Rand being the Karakarn, and then the hole suddenly snaps shut and slices through 10 Aiel pretty gruesomely.
Yeah, we do get this like little hint here about the brotherless. So he's got 200 of the brotherless, the Meradin, who are the Aiel men who have abandoned their sept and their clan. So in a sense, they're kind of like, you remember how with Rand's Aiel, we've got the Saswayamon, the Spears of the Dragon?
Yeah.
The people who are like, I'm not gonna be a clan or sept anymore, I'm just gonna be a spear for the dragon.
Yeah.
It's kind of like those guys who have abandoned everything, even their clan and sept, but they don't have anywhere to go, so they're the brotherless.
Okay.
That's kind of what's happening here. Just like to maybe wrap your head around what that means.
All right. So now Merrick tries to press the red spot again on the cube, but it's no good. And his eldest son was supposed to be one of the last through. And his eldest daughter was there with the man she was thinking of marrying. And so he says to his wife, we can wait because it should only take 3 days for it to recharge and
the
work.
plan is to just like be in this new land. So.
Yeah. So we can just wait.
Yeah.
We'll just wait.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah. And a maiden comes running through like a different one?
No. So
I'm trying to figure out what's happening here.
So they're here, and it took a while for the 6,000 of his sept to come through.
Fair.
So
okay.
as soon as they jumped through, scouts went off in every direction.
Okay.
To figure out, and now those scouts are finally coming back.
And a maiden comes running back.
Yes, the scouts.
Okay, and tells Merrick that there's other Aiel here only a few miles to the east running straight at them.
Yeah.
And they are not friendly.
They're not Shido Aiel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then another Aiel comes up and says there's 10,000 Aiel and 10,000 wetlanders on horses coming from the north. Also not friendly.
Yeah.
And then another Aiel comes up and says there's 8,000 Aiel to the south. And he calls for a blacksmith nearby and hands him the stone cube and says you must press the red spot and keep pressing it no matter what happens, no matter how long it takes for the hole to reopen.
Yes, because blacksmiths don't fight and they won't be attacked in battle by the other Aiel.
By the other Aiel,
yeah.
Maybe. I mean, all bets are a little bit off when you're fighting against a rebel
True.
force.
They're probably much safer.
Maybe.
Let's say that.
Okay. So then he tells his wife that they must prepare to put on white and that she must stay alive to hold together what remains of their sept.
Yeah, and it is a little bit sad because initially it's like, why are there so many Aiel who are not your own Aiel here? Mm-hmm. But we find out from Samuel's perspective, or Grendel's perspective later, what's going on. So
yeah, they've been plunked here on purpose.
Yes.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Now, Merrick raises his veil and calls for his sept to join the dance. There's nearly 1,000 Aiel who are fighting.
Yeah, because not all the Aiel here, like of his 6,000, we don't know if they all made a third, doesn't sound like they did,
no.
But they weren't all the warriors.
Okay, so they charge up the slope and west because that's the direction with the nearest and fewest forces to fight.
Yeah, because it's like 20,000 here, 8,000 here.
Yeah, maybe it'll buy enough time, and he doesn't really believe that, but he wonders if Savannah knew about this.
Yeah, no, she didn't.
No, she's an idiot.
She's a knucklehead. She's a dummy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly.
She thought Kadar was just a dude, a bro, trying to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, he doesn't even care about the gold.
Can you believe that?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. Otherwise, this plan would have been perfect.
Okay, let's perspective change to Grandal because it's...
We get a lot of explanation.
We get some explanation about what's going on here. Because you read this and I was like, wait a minute.
What the hell is happening?
So Grandal watches as the gateway closes behind the last of the Shido.
Yeah.
And now I'm confused because the gateway closed on some Shido and some are left behind. So what's happening?
Samael had a bunch. He has a bag full of these traveling boxes.
Yes.
And he's gone and opened up, let's say, 15 of them.
Okay.
20 of them.
To like different places?
Different places.
Okay.
He has just split up the entire Shido force into little pockets all across Ranland.
Okay.
So he says between, like, I think it's between Amadicia and whatever. Like, I can't remember. We'll get there. But
yeah.
he's split up them into little factions. So he sliced a couple in half, and then they would have just went into another one. Because he's getting everybody out of here.
Okay. All right. So that works then.
Yeah, so the last one closes, and now there's no more Shido
and then
here.
They're just here by themselves.
Yeah.
Or so they think. Because there is a peeping Tom.
There's someone watching.
There's always someone watching.
And someone above you watching. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Except last time it was probably Moradin, right? Is that what I thought? Who was watching them last time? Because it was somebody all in like camo.
Yeah, the last time it was Moradin.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I was like, why are you staring at me like that?
I was talking Dream World levels of watching.
Oh, yeah. No, that.
Yeah.
But specifically, the last time...
It was Moradin
Sammy
watching.
and Brandy went and met Savannah. They were being peeped on, and it was Moradin.
Yes, it was.
In his, like, camouflage.
Yep.
And he's kind of like a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a guy.
Okay.
This one is not Moradin. This is Shatter Haran.
Yeah, they're just being spied on lots.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, she thinks that it seems like the last gateway is one that Samael actually held instead of tying it off.
So for like let's say for the first dozen or whatever, he tied them off so they would close at random times and whatever, kill some Shido. He doesn't care. But the last one, he wants all of them gone.
So he waited.
So he waited till they were all through.
Okay. So Samael laughs and tosses away the bag of useless stones.
Yeah.
And Grandal tells him, one day you'll be too smart for your own good. A fool box? What if one of them understood?
Yeah.
And Samael's like, yeah, well, they didn't.
Well, it's not a Nabaha. It's a fool box.
Fool box.
It's so good.
Yeah, Grandal comments that he certainly managed to panic them with his story. And she asks him if he sent them all ahead of Rand's armies.
Yes.
Headed towards Ilion. Because that's what I was going to say.
So Merrick...
There was no time for me in this moment to actually predict what's going on and where they are.
We get an answer.
Yes.
Yeah, so it seems like Merrick was one of maybe the unlucky ones who got plunked right ahead of Rand's armies, all those little pockets of troops who were coming down.
Yeah.
So that's why he's gonna be attacked by like all sides.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, these ones are not all over. They're all over the place. And Samael says, some of them are going to be put in front of Rand's armies enough to cause trouble, especially the channelers, but not enough that I'm going to be suspected because he's super sneaky. And the rest are scattered from Ilion to Gildan. Yeah, so basically like the lower half of the map. They're all across there. And now the plan is to hopefully make sure that people are going to blame Althor for this because people in the wetlands can't tell Aiel apart. So they're just like, oh, these are just Aiel who follow Rand.
Because really what I was thinking is that Samael just did Rand a huge favor.
Not at all.
Splitting up all the Shido? Absolutely he did.
No, but now you have pockets of several thousand Aiel who can go and raid every little town on the lower half of the map.
I don't know.
And now he has to track down every pocket of Shido instead of having one big force.
No, I don't know.
Well,
I think that they're all like dazed and confused and it won't be like just ravaging and pillaging randomly. I think that it's actually funny that all the Shido are all split up and Samael thinks that this is bad for Rand, but I actually thought that this was good for Rand.
Well, Shatter Haran has the same thought. He's like,
oh, he does? Is that why I think that?
He's like, maybe this will cause chaos, and if it does, then cool, but if it doesn't, then not cool.
Then not cool.
Not cool. And when Shatter Haran's like, not cool.
Not cool.
It's not cool.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, Grandal starts thinking that Samael has no idea that Savannah took every Shido woman who can channel with her.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time to abandon Sammy and, pair up with another Forsaken.
Maybe Demandred.
Flop around.
Yeah.
Switch alliances.
Switch gears.
Who's going to take me to Final Two?
Right? That's how it works.
Yes, because Samuel's a little bit being crazy.
Yeah. Yes. He's being like...
Yeah, but he's like,
reckless.
You can't leave me. You're tied to me now.
Yeah.
So
he's kind of being reckless.
Yeah, Grendel agrees with him, and she thinks to herself, maybe it'll work out because the Great Lord rewards success, and she is not going to be pulled down if this plan fails, so she opens a gateway back to her palace in Eridomen and doesn't go with Samael, who opens a palace of himself back to Ilion.
Right. And then, before leaving...
Yes, she asks, what if Rand comes after you himself?
Yes.
And Samael just laughs and says, Thor isn't going after anyone. All I have to do is wait.
Yeah, which I mean, like, not true.
No, I think that Samael knows about the
attack?
The attack.
Yeah, because, like, Rand's kind of, like, hung up right now in a comatose
That's right,
like
he
state.
is.
So, Samael's initial lie was, we're in an alliance. We're a Final Two, me and Rand.
Yeah.
We're going to the end together.
We're going to the end.
And that's a lie.
Yes.
But so far it's working for him. Because,
we'll see. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, he's not dead.
No.
So, like, there's that. That counts for something.
It does.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's the end of this perspective.
Yeah.
And then we jump into the sneaky peeping Tom's perspective.
Yeah, we do. Peeking
Shider
through the bushes.
Haran.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comes out of the shadows and can see the residue of the gateways of Samael and Grendel that they just left behind.
Yeah, it's a cool little, like, world building, too, for what Shider Haran is.
Yeah, 'cause you can smell the difference.
Yes, and that's something that no fake can do. Yes, it's different.
Yes.
So Saidin is sharp, and Saidar is soft, but grows harder if pressed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So he picks up a spear and uses it to turn over the bag that Samael had.
Bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thinking that there is a lot happening that is outside of the plan.
Which is interesting because we know from Moradin, he told Mogi... See, I'm working on the whole nickname thing. The nickname names.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Moradin told Moghedien that time for games is over. It's time to come in because we're, like, in the end game here.
Yeah.
So we got to get our shit together, guys.
Yes.
And he's got 2 mind traps clearly controlling her and somebody
Someone
else. Yeah.
But we also did get the whole create chaos.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. And that's why he literally thinks in the next, like, paragraph.
Yeah.
Because he thinks if Samael's plan works and it causes chaos, then we're cool.
Then we're cool. And
but if it
not,
doesn't work, then
not cool.
Not cool.
And then he feels an ache in the back of his neck, and then it feels weaker, and it's because he's been away from Shale Ghul for too long.
Yeah.
And that tie needs to be severed somehow, and now he's starting to think independently about how he wants that severed.
And very possible, or it could be the other side of that, like him being the hand of the Dark One.
He needs to be able to be out.
He
of
wants
Shale
more
Ghul.
freedom.
Yeah,
he wants more freedom. So it's like he's tied to Shale Ghul, so he wants to be free more.
That's thinking pretty independently.
I mean, maybe, or it's the Dark One being like, "We got to get free, bro."
Maybe. I like it my way.
Ooh, okay. So he's gonna be like a
rogue.
Rogue agent, causing more chaos.
Yeah, and then he turns to find the edge of a shadow that he needs to...
Because we know how that works.
...slip away, and he thinks the day is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last battle.
Last battle.
The day, yeah, the day.
The day that the Dark One potentially gets to come out.
Yeah.
And everybody's free.
There we go. Party time.
Party
time with the Dark One.
What a crazy roller coaster we've just gone on this evening.
Yeah, it definitely was. And with 1 chapter left, about 35-ish pages.
Yeah.
The chapter title
is
the name of the book.
A Crown of Swords.
A Crown of Swords.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
1 final chapter.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm
so excited. I love this chapter so much.
Okay.
It's good.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say. I'm just excited.
Go finish the book. Go finish book 7
oh my God.
of the Wheel of Time.
I can't believe it.
I know, we're already here, and I feel like, oh man, okay.
How did that happen so fast?
Yeah.
Okay, well, before you just be a big old dummy and get caught up in some stupid plan, I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett, with Essen, Passion Socks, Mozyme, Moltude, Benjamin, Michelle O'Brien, Jamie Young, Cody Fouts, Megan Smiley, Jonathan Reese, Vince Lewick, and Margaret, with music by Audionautics. If you are interested in supporting us and the podcast, and also getting some really cool exclusive merch and access to early episodes and bonus episodes, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show and us, like how to send us shot glasses, how to join our Discord, how to get in touch with us, things like that, for all things The Wheel Weaves, you can go to thewheelweavespodcast.com. Please be sure to give us that 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference. And tell a friend about us because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks again for listening because this really is part of the pattern now.